It charged us every time what they paid for.
Yes, ma'am.
But he didn't use the job.
Good evening, everyone.
Amen.
I'd like to call the regular meeting of Sumter County Council for Tuesday, November the 9th to order. Ms. McGinney, would you please give us an invocation? Let us all stand and please remain standing for the pledge.
Let us pray. Our dear kind Heavenly Father, we do thank you for bringing us to the table once again to do the business that you've given us as a county council. We thank you for all of those who came to witness our meeting this evening, and we ask your blessings upon everyone. We invite your presence and ask that you help us as we go through the agenda, that we will have kind hearts and wisdom, understanding, and clarity of mind. Help us to be able to return to our families after the meeting and continue to bless our city, county, and our whole country, especially our men and women who serve in uniform, those especially who serve in harm's way. Let them know that they are not alone. These and all blessings we thank and ask in your name. Amen.
Amen.
We've got some special guests that are going to be leading us in the pledge. Ladies and gentlemen, please come forward. And go ahead and read that.
The Military Order of the Purple Heart, Chapter 817, was established by the National Military Order of the Purple Heart, MOPH, during 2011 in Sumter, South Carolina. Rechartered in 2014 as the General George L. Mabry Jr., Chapter 817, to honor General Mabry, a World War II hero and Medal of Honor recipient from Sumter. Our chapter supports programs to aid veterans in need of assistance, participate in parades, and attend city and county patriotic functions such as the Memorial Day and Veterans Day ceremonies. The entire council would like to thank all of the Purple Heart Medal recipients that live all over the country for their military service.
Ready? Good. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ready? Two, move.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Aaron?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'd like to present you this on behalf of County Council. Thank you all for your service.
We would like for it to be noted also, we have our first female.
Yeah, I saw that.
All right.
How you doing, Jimmy?
And she is active duty.
Thank you for your service. Thank you all.
Okay.
Ms. Manning, are there any changes to the agenda?
No, sir.
Move for approval. Second, Chairman. It's been moved by Mr. Baker, seconded by Mr. Baker, that we approve the agenda. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? All opposed? Have a motion to approve the minutes from our regular meeting for Tuesday, October 26th.
Move for approval. Second.
Moved by Mr. Eames, seconded by Mr. Berg, that we approve the minutes from our regular meeting for Tuesday, October 26th. Any discussion? Anyone? All in favor of approving the minutes? All opposed? Land use matters and rezoning request, Ms. Ruby.
This evening, we have RZ 2120 at 6830 Fish Road. The applicant is Ms. Charlene Avan as the property owner. This is a request to rezone approximately 2.71 acres of property from agricultural conservation to residential 15. It's located at the intersection of Fish Road and North Kings Highway. You all may be familiar with this. This is the same property that we saw last year around this time, requesting to rezone to commercial for Dollar General. This is a completely different plan today. This is to rezone it to develop 4 residential lots for single-family site-built houses. The property, as you see in the aerial photograph, is basically an open field that doesn't really have any trees or vegetation on it. Oh, it's not broadcasting. I'm not sure why. It's up. It's here. Let's try again. What I will do is
Read on. We can use your imagination.
okay. Well, we'll get this fixed before the next hearing. It is currently zoned agricultural conservation, as is everything around it. It is currently undeveloped. The pictures of the site aren't very helpful because you can't see them unless you guys happen to be able to see them on your screen. It's right here at the corner of Fish Road and North Kings Highway. It's a 2.71 acre tract. If you'll scroll down, there's some photographs of the site. It's got some trees around the perimeter, but it is not heavily wooded as it used to be an agricultural field and paddocks for horses and livestock. Just keep scrolling. Across the street, we have single-family residential development. That's on lots that are ranging from 0.6 to 1 acre in size. Some more photographs of the site. And as you can see, the adjacent zoning around it is zoned agricultural conservation. In the AC zoning district, the minimum lot size is 1 acre, but many of these lots that were created in this area, you can stop right there on the comp plan site, were created before the adoption of the 1999 zoning ordinance. So we do have some areas of lots that exist that don't meet the current development standards today. So ordinarily, when we would look at a comprehensive, we look at the comprehensive plan. When we look at rezoning requests in this particular instance, it is the rural development planning area, which generally doesn't support lots of less than 1 acre in size. But in this particular instance, at this intersection in this area with this existing pattern of development, requesting to rezone to R15 in this location will not create development that's dissimilar to what's already happening to the immediate north and south of the site. Based on this analysis, Planning Commission does recommend approval of the request. We do believe that that existing pattern of development includes some single-family lots that are as small as 0.65 acres in size. Given the size of this particular tract, it only yields 4 individual single-family lots, the smallest of which will be 1/2 acre and larger. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
I would assume it's not in military protection.
It is not. It's in the rural development planning area.
Mr. Chairman, Ms. Rubin, this is the same group that came before us recently to propose the Dollar General location, correct?
No, the Dollar General applicant was Greg Guger.
The owner of the property, though, was Charlene Avant, is that correct?
The property was under contract to Mr. Guger, but she was the owner of record at the time.
And she's the same person that's proposing this project?
She is the property owner of record, yes.
Right, and so we're talking about 2.71 acres holding 4, possibly 5 houses?
It will only hold 4 property, or it will only hold 4 lots. You can only subdivide it into 4 tracts after I looked at it.
And that there is not an area like that on Fish Road currently, correct?
Actually, there are lots of similar size right across the street from this location.
No, not lots, the proposed development, because we're talking about stacking 4 houses at least into a 2.71 tract. And this is the same community that expressed some months ago that they weren't interested in having a Dollar General there, and they were not interested in having multiple listing residences there. This is the same community. I think they introduced a petition to council on the location relative to the Dollar General store. And I think Dr. Ora Span spoke in opposition of the Dollar General location there. And council should be aware that the community is also in opposition of this development as well. The neighborhood, the texture of the neighborhood just does not fit what's being proposed in their opinion.
I make a motion, first reading.
Second.
Remove.
I'm on the table. I'm on the table.
We have a motion to table it. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second to table the first reading. All in favor?
Excuse me, can I ask a question? When you table it, what is that? What are we doing? I mean, is it, we're not gonna give the landowner an opportunity or let her know when this is gonna happen, or is it just dead?
Would you like for me to answer it for you?
Yeah, I would.
Okay, it would have to be removed from the table.
So we're not removing it from the table.
No, we're putting it on the table now. And so when it comes back, there would have to be a motion to remove it from the table. I mean, the bottom line is, we just cannot stampede these communities.
Well,
And this community has made it clear that they do not want this type of development. Granted, the other development was a commercial Dollar General, but they're talking about stacking at least 4 houses in the 2.71 tract at the intersection of Fish Road and 261, and that is just absolutely not what this community wants. And if we need them to come down here and express that, they are happy to do that. And we should not be forcing communities to accept that. There's a lot of land in District 1. There are a number of places that this location could be developed, but it should not be developed in the middle of this community. This community is composed of seniors that have lived there at least 30 to 40 years. They get along great, and they are not interested in a stacked 2.71 acre tract with at least 4 houses in it. That's not what they want, and we shouldn't be pushing it on.
well, I know that there's been talk on council about changing this thing from 1 acre lots to maybe get down to half acres in AC. And I think, you know, this is something I think we need to look at. There's places where this will work, going to half acres, but they can't do it right now because we got it with 1 acres. And I think we've been talking about re-looking at this one day.
I appreciate that, Councilman from Dazzell, but the Planning Commission is attempting to rezone this area without even having a conversation with the community.
You're gonna have a public hearing, aren't you?
Well, we'll have a public hearing on this issue.
Yeah.
But the fact that the area may or may not be rezoned and what plans might be in the future, there's been no conversation with the community, and that doesn't happen downtown. That only happens in rural areas, and we got to put a stop to that.
I don't see an issue with this right here.
Because it's not in your district, and your constituents are
If it was in my
telling
district,
you.
I wouldn't have a problem with it.
Well, then you'd be ignoring your
No, I wouldn't.
constituents. If they're telling you it's a
If
problem,
they're telling
my
me-
constituents say it's a problem,
4 houses.
and it's my job,
4 homes.
and it's at least
4 homes.
at least.
No more 4, they can't do more 4.
4 homes.
I'm telling you guys,
And they're all over half acre.
I'm telling you guys, at least 4. Trust me on that.
Can't be more. The math will add up.
So what's the motion?
Well, you made a motion first.
The motion is the table, and that supersedes the prior motion.
It does, don't you? We know that. So, we'll make a motion.
We have a motion and a second to table. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
We can have a public hearing at second reading.
You voted nay, Mr. Chairman?
Make a motion.
You voted nay, Mr. Chairman?
Yes. Motion approved first reading.
Second.
Been moved and properly seconded that we have first reading, and we can have a public hearing at second reading as we normally do, and the public can come speak. If there's enough opposition, I may change my vote, but for first reading, we can move forward. First reading.
That's all I was asking.
Mr. Chairman, I appreciate that, but I just want to say that, you know, common courtesy has, whatever I've been asked to do in another person's district, I have been agreeable, I've been compliant, I have worked with every one of you who have asked me for something in your district. And I came to you tonight and expressed to you that my community, the folks who live in this community, are not interested in a stacked house development. These are country people, These are seniors, and what we are doing is wrong.
All we're having is first reading. We have never not had first reading. And then opposition comes, the votes change. We have always at least given approval for first reading. Always.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Baker.
we haven't always approved first readings. There have been first readings that have been disapproved. So let's not make that mistake where we're gonna automatically do it as second reading, because there have been first readings that have been disapproved.
Okay, well then I stand corrected, but we have approved first reading, and we will have a public hearing at second
Voted on the table, but.
You didn't clear it yet. You didn't clear it enough.
Mr. Chairman, we have on the floor a motion and a second to approve first reading, and I don't think you ever called for the vote on that.
reading. We have a motion and a second to approve first reading. All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I want to make a motion that allows citizens that may be here to speak in opposition of this issue be allowed to speak in totality, and that we do not limit the number of speakers who are interested in speaking on the issue.
That will take place at second reading.
Or they can speak at the end of the meeting, public comment.
I don't think that would be effective, Councilman from Dazzell. I think it would be more effective for them to speak during the public meeting, but I so very much appreciate your guidance.
I see our attorney shaking his head, so we will stick with first reading. Correct, Mr. Brown?
I think you called for the ayes and the nays, and it appeared to me, it appeared to me, it's your fault. The motion passed. So you just declare that one way or the other. Okay.
Ordinance number 21-965, first reading.
Mr. Chairman, would you please declare whether the motion passed or not?
I'm sorry, Mr. Brown.
Would you please declare whether the motion to approve first reading?
I thought I said that.
I didn't hear it, I'm sorry.
First reading on RZ 2120 is passed.
Was that a roll call vote, Mr. Chairman?
I'm sorry?
Was that a roll call vote?
It wasn't a roll call vote, but
I would like for the votes to be notated,
okay.
particularly mine.
Starting one left, Mr. Baker.
Opposed?
I voted in opposition.
Approved.
Yay.
Opposed.
4-3. RZ first reading for RZ 2120 is approved. New business, ordinance number 21-965. Mr. Bryan.
Mr. Chairman, this is a first reading on title only to approve a new economic development project. I think it's known as Project Honey. And you'll have more information in a fuller ordinance on second reading.
Move first reading.
Motion been made to approve by Mr. Baker, seconded by Mr. Edens. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, having first reading on ordinance number 21-965, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ordinance first reading for 21-965 is approved. Ordinance 21-966.
Mr. Chairman, members of council, 21-966 is an ordinance to approve an option to lease. Farmers Telephone is looking for an option that will last through November the 1st, 2022, to lease a piece of property that's behind the library site on West Westmark. So they want to have this option to give them time to do the study of the soils and so forth. So that they'll pay $500 for the option. And then if they lease it, they'll pay $400 a month with a 2% annual increase.
What's the purpose for
Cell tower.
They have one back there now.
I don't know.
Not on that.
Maybe I'll think about it.
Either way.
Any further questions or discussion?
Move for approval.
Second. Moved and seconded that we have first reading on 21-966. Any discussion?
Question for the attorney. Before they would be able to, construct a cell tower, they would have to get approval from us.
Not sure, you mean as far as the design developments, so forth?
We just lease them the land, open-ended, and do whatever they want to with it, or?
Well, they have to meet the development standards that are in the zoning development standards ordinance as it relates to cell towers. So there's some height restrictions and there's some.
But county council will not have a say-so.
That's right, because you've already set the standards in your zoning development standards ordinance for cell towers. Fall distance and that sort of stuff, depending on the engineering, collapsible towers and so forth. That's already been set.
Any other questions? Discussion. We have a motion and a second to approve first reading of ordinance number 21-966. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Coming on to committee reports. Internal Affairs, Mr. Byrd.
Chair, thank you, Internal Affairs Committee. Next afternoon, we need, one action, and give you, bear with me, it's a long motion, but it's a motion to reappoint to the Grievance Committee, the Sumter County Grievance Committee, the following: Reginald Felder, Cynthia Gonzalez, Henry Kent Hall Jr., Christopher Hilditch, and Lita Sigler, I don't know if I pronounced the name right. And that's to reappoint those five. Also, to appoint Emily Bernard and Patty Tyndall to the committee. And also the motion was to appoint Teresa Dugan and Mandy Pearson to serve as alternates to the Sumter County Grievance Committee. That's a motion and a second coming from the committee.
I have a motion and a second to approve that list to the Grievance Committee. Any discussion? Anyone all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
And that concludes the report, Mr. Chairman.
We have a special meeting of Sumter County Council. Mr. Mixon.
Mr. Chair, council members, good evening. We had a meeting today at 5 o'clock to discuss the ARPA federal funds. We started out with an update on the previously what we will call phase 1 projects that were approved. We did an update of all those projects, and then we followed up with a staff request of 4 projects to be funded for phase 2 applications, and council took a vote and approved those requests. Those requests include the mobile home repair project, which we've been discussing for some time. So they was approved $500,000 for that application, or excuse me, for that purpose. The RFQs to the agencies to monitor and run that program for us went out, and they are due back on November the 19th. So at that time, we'll have information we can share with council how we move through the mobile home repair program. The second request was for Ems Amulets Contract to enter into a private contract to provide 2 ambulances to our community on a daily basis. That was for $1,500,000 for a 3-year process. Then we had a premium pay for the county workforce. That was at $525,000. And then the HICE building repair, which is the DHEC DSS building located over between Lafayette and Magnolia. That project, the major portion of that will be the HVAC replacement, as well as leveraging some dollars that we received from the state, about $425,000 for some ADA compliance issues over in that building, and that's $1.8 million. For a total in phase 2 request of $4,450,000. That what was approved in the earlier meeting. I would also like to take this opportunity to inform the public as well as remind council that the mini grant program, which you already approved in phase one, that is currently under the application review process. And we hope to have that information back to council by November 19th. So at our next meeting, after immediately following that, we will have a report for council. So that's an update on the ARP and the vote that was taking place earlier in the special meeting. I believe there was some information shared by our attorney, just for information purposes in executive session, as well as a financial report by our finance director for council. That's all I have, sir.
Okay, thank you. Monthly reports, Ms. Pam.
The VOA will meet tomorrow. If anyone's interested in that, there's some things on Dodging Hill Road and Camden Highway. And I think there are a few more that, council members and feature to. Additionally, COVID-19 report is in council's packet, and also the Veterans Day parade is, of course, November the 11th. And just to remind council members that the building will be closed on the 11th.
Okay. County Administrator's report.
No other reports, sir.
Okay, thank you. Come now to the public comment section of our agenda. Citizens desiring to speak, limited to 3 minutes. Please make the comments to the chair. I now declare the public comment section open. Anyone wishing to speak to county council, please proceed to the podium.
Yeah.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and panel. My name is Yvonne China, and I'm from Rupert. Scotch Branch Road is the residence where we live, and there's an additional 20 people live on that road. And Mr. Washington is Area 1 House Representative. I'm not going to talk too long, but we was here back in 2017. Chris Sumter was our regional manager. And we have a lot of concerns about that particular road. I have sent pictures, and now the road, we got an easement, and around that curve, from Jenkins Mill Road on to Scotch Branch Road, there's a bad curve there, and we had quite a few accidents there. And coming on up the hill, there's another bad spot where another bus accident was. And to my understanding, we was in the budget back in 2017, and somehow or another we got railroad out of the budget. So Mr. Sumter, we had signed a petition to have that road, something done to it. So he had me to draw up an easement for the engineer to take one side of that particular side road and had the 5 people that live on there sign it, and it's already done. I spoke with Mr. Nixon and Mr. Washington. I had a meeting with them, and the road is very bad, but it's good now compared to 30 years ago where I was trying to get something done. Mr. Washington had copies of the pictures, and I had presented it to y'all back in 2017. And that was the last meeting we had with y'all. So I'm here with my concerns for all the residents on Scotch Branch Road, and I'd like to know, are we in the penny tax for the roads in the rural areas? Can anyone answer the question for me?
See me after the meeting, no.
Okay. And I would like to know what's the budget, and will the penny tax be used for rural roads out in the rural communities? This has been 30 years. I've married 43 years, and I was living this road for 40-something years. My kids was going to school there. So during that time, we was trying to get something done, and at that time, back in 2009 and 8, I think the penny tax was, talk about then, but it wasn't established until 2012. Am I correct? Okay. My daughters, when the time for them to get ready to go to school, the buses would not come on that road when it's raining. So I had to take them to school, and I have pictures, Mr. Washington have pictures, back in 2008, the road was very dilapidated, and there was bad ditches, and cars would slide off the road into ditches, and people would have accidents. But I'm here with my concerns and put forth to the agenda to y'all to see if we can get something done to our road. And I would like to start maybe, if we are in the penny tax or the budget, to be put on the agenda. And the first thing, I think, to be widen the road and maybe dig shoulders, and maybe to make sure it's straightened and widened before we do any other work. Back in 2017, when Mr. Sumter was on it, he addressed that we were supposed to be on the budget, but Morant Road took that position and got their road paid. So I'm just here voicing my opinion and hoping that what would it take for us to get on the agenda to vote on it? Do you have to vote on it, or what?
We'll discuss it after the meeting.
Is it Nixon?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So there is a criteria that I think y'all go by, voting on what road get paid. Am I not right? And it's like from A, B, C, and D, and there are points that have to be established. So I would like to know those points, if I get with Mr. Dixon on that too.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
All right, appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, council. Again, I'm like a broken record, but I want to say, on behalf of the Family Unit Incorporated, our 501c3 nonprofit charitable organization, we give thanks to the Sumter County Council as well as the Sumter City Council in reference to its spending of money for the poor, for people who live in poverty and despair. Those American Rescue Plan Act funds have fallen from the sky like manna from heaven. Sumter stands out very uniquely in how we have devoted money toward poor people, people that don't have a whole lot of money, don't have fancy degrees behind their names. They don't live in big houses and drive fancy cars. Sumter County has decided to help people, some of the poorest in our county, some of the poorest in our city, who live in mobile homes, to help fix up their homes over 20 years old. Some of them almost falling apart, and they're really good people living in those homes. So I thank you again. And if we were to take a concern for the poor, we would rise to heights unknown. I finish by saying the 41st Psalm, first verse says, "Blessed are ye who consider the poor." Thank you.
Thank you, Dr.
Good evening, good evening.
My name is Thomas English, and I'm coming here today on behalf of a historic mark. I'm here on behalf of the 521 All-Stars. 21 years ago in Lebanon, we as a baseball team was the first team, I think, in South Carolina, or many places, that they did a book on it. And I'm here tonight to talk to councilmen about seeing what we can do as a historic mark or anything for the Redmond area. And if we can come to agreement with that, with anything that council will do, we really will appreciate it. And I thank you very much. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to comment. I've seen the book, and I know a lot of people that played on that team, and if there's anything that we could go in with other groups to at least put some type of marker out there where people can see that this is the field they played on, and this is the place they played on. I would certainly be in favor of that. Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak? Council? Seeing none, the public comment section is closed.
Mr. Chairman, before you adjourn, I'd just like to point out something that I think sometimes we overlook. If you look on the wall, and you can see the administrative report, what stands out to me is the statement on the right that's in red. And what it is really saying when you read that is that of age 12 and older who are eligible to get vaccinated, 6 out of 10 residents in Sumter County are not vaccinated. 6 out of 10. So what we have when we look at hospitalization, who's in the hospital, who's in our ICU, who's on ventilators, and 85 to 90% of those people are unvaccinated. So I just want to encourage the people here to pass it on to your friends, your family, neighbors, whatever, to encourage them to get vaccinated. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bates.
Move for adjournment.
Second. And seconded that we adjourn. Any discussion? All in favor?